You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.
For the representative of His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, I welcome you. And also, with us on the platform is the representative of the former First Lady, Her Excellency Aisha Buhari, who is here represented by her son, Yusuf Buhari. Let's please give him a resounding round of applause. I welcome you. Earlier, I'd recognize former Inspector General of Police, IGP MD Abroka. One more time, I'd like to welcome you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome very specially dear friends of the Celebrant, former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani, and of course his spouse. I welcome you. Can we please give them a round of applause? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Senator Yaradua Sadiq is here. I'd like to welcome you. And also seated next to him, Senator Andrew Uchendo, I welcome you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Saldana Dose Alhaji Nasiru Danu, I welcome you. Thank you for coming through. Let me give warm welcome to Senator Suleiman Nazif, I welcome you. And also Senator Abubakar Gada, I welcome you. Former Minister Dr. Mariam Katago, I welcome you. Senator Tunde Ogbeha, I welcome you. Let me also pay special salutation to the Chairman, Arewa Consultative Forum, Waziri Duse Alaji Bashiri. I welcome you. With us on the platform, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me pay very special salutation to His Eminence Cardinal Onaikon. I welcome you. I welcome you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll recognize some more guests while we wait for the celebrant to step in, and then perhaps we'll continue. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome former Governor of Edo State, Professor O.A. Osobo. I welcome you. Former Executive Director, Cabotage of NIMASA, Right Honorable Victor Oche, I welcome you. And also on the platform, let me find the honor to welcome former DG NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, I welcome you. May I also give very huge welcome to former Chairman of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Chief Ake Ricketts, I welcome you. And of course, former MD, Nigerian Railway Corporation, I'd like to welcome Mr. Fidelis Ohere, I welcome you. Let me welcome former DG Man, Oron. I'd like to welcome Commodore Efedua, I welcome you. Thank you for coming through. Let me pay special recognition to the representative of Tony Elumelu, who is here representing Tony Elumelu, Mr. Alex Alozie, Executive Director, North United Bank of Nigeria, I welcome you. And also Chief Mike Ogiadume, former Deputy Governor and former Chief of Staff to former President. Good luck is with us on the platform. I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome specially Dr. Maria Waziri, former Minister. I welcome you. Let me welcome former Minister of Sports, Honorable Bolaji Abdullahi. I welcome you. And so as we receive more guests, we will recognize them. But at this time, I would like to take a breather and play some music. When we witness the arrival of the celebrant, we'll commence. Thank you.
After he left us, I ordered more whiskey. I thought how she'd made him look small. From the lights of the bar room to a rented hotel room, we walked.
Please, I'd like to welcome Eze Emperor RBC. I welcome you. Thank you for coming through. I welcome Professor Usman Yusuf. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome a top-notch media personality, media giant, the very BC Olatilo. I welcome you. I'd like to welcome the former Chief Executive, NIWA. Very specially, I welcome Chief George Moralu. I welcome you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to confirm just arrived here, His Excellency, the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Waziri Adamawa, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, GCON. His Excellency, former Chairman of the APC, Chief John Oyego, I welcome you. Ms. Funke Aboyede SNN, I welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed to have very respected royal fathers. I pay special welcome and salutation to the Emir of Kano. I'd like to recognize Mosano John Wabu. I welcome you. Thank you for coming through. Again, I'd like to welcome the Emir of Kano, Sanu Dezua. I welcome you. I welcome you. And so it gives me a great deal of pleasure to confirm with us on the platform the celebrant and of course his spouse and the entire family. His Excellency, the Right Honorable Chubike Rotimi Amaechi, Commander of the Order of the Niger, former Governor of Rivers State, 2 times Minister of Transportation. Let me also welcome very specially Her Excellency, the Lady of Style, Dame Judith Amaechi. We welcome you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we be upstanding for the national anthem?
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
Stanza 3 will also stand as our national prayer.
O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you very much. We all may use our seat nicely. Let me one more time recognize Dr. Waziri Maina. One more time I recognize you and I welcome you. I'd like to request for those of us around the front area, can we please allow some space for, of course, the celebrants and, of course, those on the front sitting area, please. Those persons with your phones, can you just please retire back to your seat and allow official photographers and paparazzis to walk so we can have space within the front area. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. His Excellency, I'd like to welcome Professor Pascal Oguno, NIPSS Kuru. I welcome you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. His Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I also confirm just arrived here the chairman of today's occasion, the very erudite Professor Wole Soyinka. Can we please give him a resounding round of applause? Thank you. Again, I'd like to please appeal to those of us around the front area. Can we please clear so we can start this event, please? We'll take 30 seconds to just clear the front area so we can start the event. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please stay on red position. Stay on red side, please. Thank you very much. His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, here represented. His Excellency, former First Lady Aisha Buhari, here represented. Her Excellency, former First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan, here represented. His Excellency, the Waziri Adamawa, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, GCON. His Excellency, Governor Alex Oti of Abia State. His Excellency, the celebrant and spouse, the very Right Honorable Chibike Rotimi Amaechi and Dame Judith Amaechi. His Excellency, the Chairman Organizing Committee, Gabriel Suswan. Your Excellencies, former governors, distinguished senators and members of the House of Representatives, the former Inspector General of Police, former Chief of Army Staff, former National Chairman of APC, the Keynote Speaker, the Chairman of today's occasion, our Royal Fathers, particularly the Emir of Kano, the Eze Ebara Rebisi, His Eminence Cardinal Onaikon, heads of government department, parastatals and agencies, captains of industries, chief executive officers, my lord spiritual and temporal, our distinguished clergymen, respected traditional rulers, statesmen and senior citizens, representations coming from various groups, its media personality, BC Olatilo, our panelists, invited guests, members of the First Estate of the Realm, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning and thank you so much. I would very warmly like to receive the chairman of today's planning committee, a two-time governor of Benue State and also one of the newest entrants within the last 6 months to the 60s Club, to welcome his friend and his brother to the 6th floor. Please receive His Excellency Gabriel Suswan. Welcome, sir.
Please, gentlemen of the press, please, we don't have time. Can you please? Please, Your Excellency the Celebrant, can you take your seat, please? The Celebrant, can you take your seat, please? Your Excellency, the chairman of this very important occasion, a renowned global scholar who needs no introduction. Your Excellency, the former Vice President of our country, Your Excellency, former governors, distinguished senators, very distinguished Nigerians. The protocol has already been well established. Can we please, the press, please, and please, can you step aside? Well, time is of the essence here because we're supposed to start this function by 10. We're starting very late. I'm aware that our chairman has a flight to catch. And so there won't be any long speech except to say that we are here to celebrate a great son of this great country, a young man who has just become a man. He actually turned 60 on the 27th of this month, but had to push this celebration for today to accommodate a very close friend of his who also turned 60 on the same day. And so he said he will attend that first before his. So we're here to celebrate this great son of our country. A young man who was Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly. He became governor of that state. He became Minister of Transport in this country. All of this under 60. I think God has been gracious to this great Nigerian. So I just want to welcome each and every one of us who is here. We will listen to the opening remarks of the chairman of this occasion, who will take his leave immediately after that. And then we have to abridge this program because we're live, but the Arise TV that is taking us will have to exit at some point. So we will abridge the program, we'll go forward, we'll come back forward. So if you are supposed to make a remark before somebody and you see that the person is called, we're just trying to accommodate every person within the time because of how late we have started. And so on behalf of the planning committee that have done very well in putting this occasion together, I want to welcome each and every one of us and ask that we should sit down and listen attentively. We're here to celebrate a great Nigerian. So let's listen to especially the guest speaker. The theme of this birthday is weaponizing poverty in Nigeria, a case study. It is something that all of us as leaders, as Nigerians, know where we are. And so I would employ each and every one of us to be very attentive when the guest speaker eventually takes the stage to speak. And so on behalf of the planning committee, the celebrant and his wife, I want to welcome each and every one of us. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for welcoming us, and we welcome you too for making this possible. Please appreciate His Excellency Gabriel Suswam, Chairman of the Planning Committee. We would like to receive the chairman of today's event to declare this event open officially and, of course, share his remarks from his wise years. Many people wonder if he needs to be introduced. No, he doesn't, because we've been listening to him for decades, but we've never gotten tired. It never gets stale. Have been weaponized against injustice. And today that we talk about the weaponization of poverty, of course, his words will come as a fire to flame. Please welcome Professor Wole Soyinka as he comes forward. Sir, someone online sent me a question to ask how many of these outfits you have in your wardrobe, because they would like to get a few pieces from you as what some people call mantle. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. The celebrant, Your Royal Highnesses, all here present. I had to be here today. I had to accept this position, which is not really too much to my temperament. I don't like being chairman of anything. I don't like positions like that. However, this was a duty, a pleasure for me, and a sort of return match for the celebrant. I must begin with an apology that because I have to be also a temporary chairman, an interim chairman, a sort of fidihe chairman, because I have a plane to catch, so my apologies in advance for having to disappear. When I do, I hope the Cardinal Onoayekon, please, I hope you'll do me the honor of taking over the chairmanship when I've finished my fidihe. Thank you. One of the reasons, the main reason why I had to be here is, first of all, that I admire Rotimi Amaechi'S fighting spirit. And it's a very consistent one. But the most memorable for me, because I watched this event live on TV, all the way from Abu Dhabi. I wanted to see the drama of all the primaries going on during the election. I wasn't really here, but I said, I want to watch this contest. And I'm glad I did, because it gave me a great, most malicious pleasure, rascally, if you like, pleasure, to see the incumbent president being given a dose of his own medicine. Let me explain this. As somebody we knew as the last man standing when he fought to a standstill, a former president who was maneuvering himself into a position of changing the Constitution and becoming, obtaining a third term. He keeps denying it, but he and I know for a fact, and so do others. And towards that goal, he was sort of emasculating the powers of the constituent elements of the Federation. And by the end, this president was the last man standing, resisted that effort. All the others had sort of cowed down because their statutory allocation had been stopped, contrary to the Constitution. But one man, he was the last man standing. Well, he obtained a dose of his own medicine from Rotimi Amaechi during the primaries. I enjoyed that very much. While everybody was, falling over one another, conceding, there's one individual who got on the podium and he said, "No, I'm not conceding. I didn't come all the way here to commit Lule." And that man was Rotimi Amaechi. And I said, this is what democracy is all about. In addition, I think we in the literary world owe him a debt. He demonstrated his commitment to the literary occupation on the occasion of my 80th birthday. He created a mini festival around that event. I felt very honored by himself, the Rivers State, and it gave me enormous pleasure to have worked with him towards bringing the title, the very enviable title of the literary capital, the book capital of the world, to Nigeria, to Rivers State. So that was another debt. But then there's also an ancillary debt which I expected him to pay. It was this. Nigeria is a very weird country. Or more accurately, let's say Nigeria is peopled by some very weird species. On that occasion, somebody, as usual, people carry all these political disagreements into the most execrable dimensions. And simply because one individual had a problem, political problem with Rotimi Amaechi, he went on to say that that mini festival was really a means of looting. I hope you do remember the occasion. It's important that we remind ourselves from time to time of the meanness of which people are capable, even on occasions of celebration. And suddenly, in the media, what was a joyful, literary, artistic occasion which involved several disciplines of the arts, put out an article in the paper saying that Rotimi Amaechi had looted the treasury for this event and had shared the proceeds with the individual who was being honored, that being me. Remember, and suddenly in the papers there was showing Car Gate, And I said, so it's become a crime to be honored? And asking me, you may remember, both him and myself, to refund to the Rivers State this money which was spent on this mini festival which gave such joy to young writers, dancers, artists, dramatists. So I came here today because I didn't receive any share of this. So Rotimi, I came to collect my share from you from the 80th birthday, because they say that there was no festival, no event, and this money just went into individual pockets. This is part of the problem that we have in this country. Rotimi Amaechi does not share that mean-spiritedness. And this is one of the delights which I have to be associated with an individual like that. There are many other instances which I can cite, but these are just sufficient to make everybody understand that I'm not here by compulsion or by delight, with a sense of paying tribute to a remarkable, resilient man, individual, a very capable individual with an enormous fighting spirit for his convictions. So once again, I apologize that I must take off in the middle of all of this. Enjoy yourselves and make sure that you take away with you at least a little shard of that character, that unique character, energetic, sometimes very difficult. Half the time I find it difficult to understand what he's saying. That's by the way. Just take away, however, a shard of this little phenomenon encapsulated in the personality, the achievements, and the career of the celebrant, Rotimi Amaechi. Congratulations, many happy returns. Thank you very much indeed. I hereby launch the occasion. Thanks.
Thank you so much, our very revered Professor Wale Soyinka, for your kind words, for your time, your commitment to not only the celebrant, but all great causes that this country has. We say thank you, and we appreciate you, and we wish you farewell on your journeys for the rest of the day. Whilst he was speaking, we had walk-in Governor Jibril Bindo, former governor of Adamawa State. Good morning, sir. Also was Governor Nasir El-Rufai walk-in, and he's seated comfortably. Former governor of Kaduna State. Please appreciate them with an applause. Governor Alex Oti also snuck in at some point before our chairman spoke, and I don't think we recognize his presence again. You're welcome, sir. Good morning. Dr. Adamu Waziri Maina, ex-minister of the Federal Republic, is also here. Good morning, sir. I saw walk-in General Buratai, former chief of army staff. Good morning, sir. Colonel Mustafa, former CSO to former head of states, Sani Abacha, also here. Good morning, sir, and welcome. Emir of Dutse Alhaji Hamim Mohammed Sanusi, of course. CFR, good morning and welcome, sir. His Highness Khalifa Muhammad Sanusi II, Emir of Kano, is also here. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I understand the representative of the governor of Bayelsa State is also here, Honorable Komonibo. Good morning and welcome. Our lecture will be taken by a very distinguished gentleman, and after which we'll have our Goodwill messages. His profile is very well stated in the brochure that you have, but what is not stated there is that over 40 years ago, he was a lecturer where our celebrant was his student. And 40 plus years later, he's still lecturing him even on his 60th birthday. Distinguished guests, he's 72, but he still has his mind as sharp as 40 years ago, just like our professor, the chairman of today's occasion. Please, very warmly, receive with me Dr. Chidi Amuta as he comes forward for our keynote lecture today. Welcome, Doctor.
happy to be here. I'm also very pleased with the MC for not prolonging the ceremony. I fully realize that we're running short of time, and I will, as much as possible, try to keep my own side of the bargain. Unfortunately, or it's not, I won't say unfortunately, I would have liked Professor Shoyinka to stay for a while, because what is happening between Professor Shoyinka, myself, and Rotimi Amaechi is like a relay race of generations. Professor Shoyinka was my teacher at the University of Ife when he came back from exile in Ghana. And by some coincidence, Rotimi Amaechi was my student at the University of Port Harcourt. So you can see the transition. I wouldn't know whether I have turned out a disappointment to Professor Shoyinka. But I know that Rotimi has been a very brilliant illustration of what we try to do as teachers in the university system. Prof, if I have been a disappointment, please forgive me, sir. Now, when I got the invitation to deliver this lecture, I was a bit troubled. But it was Rotimi himself who picked up the telephone to call me and say, Oga, you have to give a lecture. I said, what is the problem? What's the subject of the lecture? So, it's about poverty and all. I said, for what occasion? He said, oh, his birthday. I said, what birthday? He said, oh, 60th. I said, you? 60 already? We laughed over it. I had no problem with accepting the invitation for one reason. The reason is my proximity and familiarity with Rotimi. As the MC hinted, I have known him for close to 40 years. From when he was a 20-something-year-old undergraduate student till today. During this period, I've related with him as a younger brother, as a friend, and if I could have a child at age 12, he would have been my son. So we are that close. I understand him to a great extent. If I offer him advice and he doesn't like the advice, he does one of two things. He tries to avoid me for a couple of weeks until he has had his way, or he just keeps his distance. And I will understand fully why he is doing that. But on many occasions, I think he listens to me. Now, when he told me about the subject of the lecture, I said, okay, fine. But I fully realized that the subject or the topic fitted into Rotimi's political DNA. He fights the good fight, and his DNA is he has a fighting spirit any day. And I think everybody who has come to know him understands that. Therefore, when he told me that he wanted me to talk about poverty and democracy and all that, I said, okay, fine. I'm going to adjust it and just talk about democracy and the poverty republic, because I think we live in a poverty republic, because the number of poor people in Nigeria has in the last 2 years overtaken the rest of the population. So, and we have graduated, we have even overtaken India as the poverty capital of the world. Therefore, I feel comfortable talking about democracy and poverty. Then I had another problem. I asked Rotimi, I said, what makes you think that I qualify to give this lecture? He said, no, I just do it. I said, okay, I will. So, but I reminded him that in today's Nigeria, you need to fulfill certain criteria in order to qualify for people, all these important people here, to be listening to you. In Nigeria, if you want people to listen to you, it's either you are a pastor and a mom, but in addition to those two, you must also have a lot of money to buy that audience. I don't think I'm either a pastor or a mom. In addition to that, if you want Nigerians to listen to you, you must have a lot of money. The hope is that after your lecture, after your talk, you will leave something behind. But unfortunately, again, I don't belong to the class of the wealthy. I have spent all my life working in two of the most underprivileged professions, teaching and journalism. If you want to retire as a poor man, join any of these two. If you also want people to listen to you for their own good, you better be a politician. You know, politicians thrive on audience, and they do get it. On the other hand, you can be a traditional authority. If you're a traditional authority, you get an audience. Unfortunately, I'm not a chief. Don't have a chieftaincy title. There is a more dangerous and creeping category of speakers who get an audience, whether you like it or not. They are in the social media. In the social media, these days, you turn on your phone in the morning, somebody is giving you a lecture. They call them power speakers. They call them private preachers. These are dangerous because they are communicating to you or with you directly, one-on-one, on your phone. You cannot escape. If it was a large audience like this, you can decide to walk away. But if somebody early in the morning wakes you up and talks to you on your phone, you probably have no choice. You have to listen. Having said that, the two subjects that are bound together today in what I want to talk about is democracy and poverty. What is the relationship? Now, whether we like it or not, democracy is a function of choice. The choice of the people about who governs them, who rules them. Who governs or who rules them. While poverty has to do with access to resources. The farther you are away from the source of resources, the poorer you are. The nearer you are to the source of authority and power, the more you are privileged in the democratic terrain. But both of them are linked because those who seek power through democracy always need the population. And most of the people in the population are poor people. But one thing is clear. The power to decide on who rules over you as a populace is a function of your relative prosperity. A poor society is very poor in making decisions, and in fact, they are disenfranchised. Even though you can conscript them to vote for you, but majorly, if there is no empowerment, if there is no prosperity, you cannot have democracy. And if you take the history of democratic transition all over the world, it is the same thing. It is the empowerment, the economic empowerment, the liberation from poverty that produces democracy. If you take Europe, after the Industrial Revolution produced wealth, produced prosperity, produced a middle class of workers. It was this middle class of workers and workers that rose to challenge the kings. This is how Europe made a transition from monarchism to popular republic. In other words, once people were working, they were making money, they realized that they had the power. And why would the king and the queen be ruling over them? So what happened? You had all the popular revolutions. They beheaded the kings. They dragged the queens by the roadside. They overthrew the monarchy and empowered the popular parliament. Instead of kings, they began to have prime ministers and presidents. Where the kings fought a rearguard battle, they say, okay, we can have a ceremonial monarchy, but real authority and government must come from the people themselves. Therefore, the point I'm making here is that economic empowerment, economic power, the conquest of poverty is what enhances the rise of democracy, not the other way around. Now, if you look at Africa, just broadly, because we don't have a lot of time, you will find out that in Africa, it's the other way around. Colonialism bred an elite. The elite decided with the colonialists that democracy is the best form of government. So they set up parliament, built a state house, and promulgated the constitution, and went out to recruit the people to vote, to form parties, and set up democracy. So it's democracy from the top. It wasn't that because people had become rich or become prosperous that they opted for democracy in Africa. As a result of this, out of 54 African countries, only 20 can be described as minimally democratic. What has emerged in the world is that these two concepts, democracy and poverty, or poverty alleviation, have come to dominate. In the world, people are choosing different forms of democracy. You have different versions, the diversity of democracy. We all know the American one and where it has currently led. We know the European one, which arose as a result of the Industrial Revolution. But China also says it is democratic Although it is one party, 1.4 million people ruled under one constitution by one person and belonging to one party, making their choice about who rules them. We can argue from now till tomorrow about whether that's democracy or not. As far as the Chinese are concerned, it is democracy that is working, and that is the concept of appropriate democracy. You have something else that has arisen in recent times. They call it illiberal democracy. It's democracy because people troop out periodically to go and vote. But it is not free. If you are in Russia, Turkey, Hungary, a bit of the Philippines, you also live in a democracy. And in theory, you decide who rules you. But I'm not so sure whether Mr. Putin will respect your right to vote when it's time to vote in Russia, but he might not respect your right not to vote for him. The same thing with Viktor Orban in Hungary. The same thing with the man in Turkey. So that's illiberal democracy. Yes, democracy, you are free to choose your leaders, but you must choose me, not the other man. Or woman, as the case may be. Now, in the Nigerian instance, the Bureau of Statistics recently, I think it was a year or 1.5 years ago, decided that it was not just enough to define poverty in terms of people who live on $2 a day or less, that it should be liberalized. And they came up with multidimensional poverty. In other words, poverty should be measured in terms of access to education, access to food, access to shelter, access to money, access to power, and so on and so forth. But the result they got has put us in trouble, because when it was $2 a day, the population of poor people in Nigeria was about 85 million people. But with multidimensional poverty, when they put in people who have no access to all the essential things of life, Nigeria's poverty population ballooned to about 130 million out of roughly 200 million. What does that mean? It's frightening. What it means is that the number of poor people in Nigeria has now overwhelmed and overcome the rest of the population. So we are now living squarely in a poor republic. And no matter what economists say, the multidimensional poverty is more scientific, it's more realistic, and its simple logic is that if you are living in a country where the rate of population growth is faster than the GDP growth, then your highway to poverty is assured, and Nigeria fits squarely into that. Now, this thing that they call poverty, people gathered in this assembly may not understand it, they might even wave it off. But some of us who grew up from poor background understand that poverty is not a joke. It doesn't joke about its effects. It afflicts people. It leaves scars. It invades and ravages and dominates and pervades whole segments of the population. it also conquers territory. Poverty conquers territory. Because if you check Abuja and Lagos, for instance, you find out that places that were started and established as highbrow estates and neighborhoods have in recent times been overwhelmed and overtaken by slums and ghettos. So poverty conquers territory, but conquers territory in its own peculiar way. But more importantly, it also dehumanizes people, reducing them to virtual animals. A poor man, has a different set of feelings. Now, whether we like it or not, poverty in Nigeria and a good number of other countries now has national security implications. We are seeing a different type of crime. We are seeing the persistence of criminality. We are seeing kidnapping that won't go away, abductions that will not go away, armed robbery that won't go away, banditry that will not go away, no matter how much you provide in your budget. The truth is that these issues will not go away because the fundamental reason why those crimes persist is poverty. A good number of people are poor, and they have found out that the easiest way of fighting their own private poverty is to hire or buy a gun and overwhelm the person who is frightened. So we will live in a frightened republic. I'll give you a practical instance. In the eastern parts of the country, annually people go home to touch base with their neighborhood. And when they go home, their little cousins and nephews and brothers who do not have as much privilege depend on them for handouts. So if you live in the town and you are doing well and you come home and you have 10,000, 5,000 or 50,000 to give to people and share, you are spreading a bit of welfare. But in recent times, those urchins in the village, those people who are unemployed in the villages, they wait for you. You are coming home, all right? Fine, you come home. They arrange and kidnap you. They say, well, let's kidnap him and ask for 20 million because ordinarily he was going to give us only 10,000 naira anyway. So it's better and more profitable to kidnap a wealthy uncle and get 20 million or 10 million instead of waiting to collect 10,000 naira. Simple. So you see the effect of poverty on even social cohesion. And that is why I come from a part of the country where you have so many mansions and palaces. The owners don't come home for 10 years or 15 years, as the case may be. Why? They are afraid. So we live, again, in a republic that is ruled by fear. So, having said that, I'm just going to speed up what I have to say. Now, poverty has become so pervasive, has also become a legacy. Because when we were growing up, it used to be that you need to send your children to school so that they can conquer your poverty. But now, whether you send your child to the best schools or not, they're not going to find a job. They probably won't find anything to do. So poverty now begets poverty. Poverty has become a legacy of so many people. And some parents, some poor parents, go and borrow money in order to educate their children. They find out that having educated these children, they graduate, they cannot find a job. The parents have impoverish themselves in order to train their child, this child will not be capable of attending the burial of the parents. So this is where we are. So what we have done is our democracy is gradually redefining itself into something like a government of the poor, by the rich, for the rich. A government of the poor, by the rich, for the rich. Now, having said that, the political industry, politics in Nigeria has emerged as an industry, what we now call political industry. And it is one of the fastest growing industries in our country. It's not manufacturing, it's not trading, it's either politics or criminality. Those are the fastest growing industries in our country, criminality and politics. The political industry is very straightforward. The entry requirements are very lax, very little regulation. If it says you need school certificate, okay, go and get school certificate. If you can't get school certificate, go and swear to an affidavit. If you cannot swear to an affidavit, go and buy an illicit certificate. You are qualified. You can borrow money. So you will see that we are in the city of Abuja. I know some people who 5 or 6 years ago used to travel to Abuja by night bus. Today, some of them cannot even fly first class by air. What they do is to either buy or hire a private jet, because the rate of prosperity, the return on investment in the political industry is the fastest in any industry that you know, because it defies all logic. And because it is so attractive, people are ready to kill in order to win an election. They can rig to win an election. They do anything to win the election. And so politics has now weaponized our poverty. Our poverty has been weaponized. Politicians, when it's the election time, don't waste your time. It's either you share money, buy votes, or distribute what they call stomach infrastructure. Stomach infrastructure means giving people bread, giving them little money, giving them something that they can make. In fact, in one of the states, they say, look, if I can just get from the politician enough money to make one pot of soup that is good, because throughout the years, they find that there's no food. So now there's the political industry. But something positive has happened in recent times. People now know that the politicians will give you little money and they will win and they go away. For 4 years, they won't come back. So people collect stomach infrastructure and refuse to vote for you. If you check the last 2 state governorship elections in Edo and Ondo, we witnessed the lowest voter turnout, in spite of the fact that the voters were outnumbered by security, official security. The voters were outnumbered by the money that was dished out. People collected stomach infrastructure and stayed back in their houses. They refused to go out to vote. So Edo State witnessed 22% voter turnout. Ondo had 20%, the lowest since 1999. So we may think that poor people are stupid. They are getting wiser. In conclusion, let me just read bullet points of my conclusion. There cannot be democracy in Nigeria for as long as there is any child that will not be in school tomorrow because their parents cannot pay. You can't have a democratic country in which children can't go to school because of school fees. We cannot talk of democracy in Nigeria for as long as there are still children anywhere in the land that have to depend on oil lamp light or the moonlight in order to read for their exams. You can't have democracy having meaning in a country like this where some school fees, some classrooms have no roof or children study under the trees. And you can have democracy where so many Nigerians go to bed without food. And all election results are announced 2 years before the election takes place. And you say you are having democracy. 2 years away, the election, but the result is announced today. Or when voters are chased away by thugs from election centers, you can't say you have a democracy. Similarly, you cannot have democracy when the election results are issued for voting centers where nobody voted. People didn't show up there to vote, but you have INEC result sheet verified, signed, stamped, and you say you are doing democracy. You cannot. And if we continue to buy votes as if we are buying tokens in the street bazaar, we cannot claim that we have democracy. Therefore, our citizens who are experiencing extreme poverty, our children who are witnessing or experiencing extreme deprivation, they are not hopeful. No matter what we politicians and intellectuals and media say, hope is not foisted. You don't impose hope. Instead, all these people who are suffering all these deprivations, I would call them midnight children. They are the midnight children. They are condemned to torment us forever and ever after. Thank you very much.
Please keep the applause going for our keynote lecturer of the day, who has done extreme justice to the topic given, the weaponization of poverty as a means of underdevelopment. He has done the case study. He has told us what this means, what may be causing it, how to fix it. And one of the greatest things we took away is education. He says, until all children are educated, there will still be poverty, and therefore, the right kind of democracy will not take place. Distinguished guests, please appreciate Dr. Chidi Amuta, keynote lecturer in honor of the 60th birthday of His Excellency Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. Let me quickly recognize the presence of Governor Seriaki Dixon, former Governor Bayelsa. We saw him when he walked in. Good morning, sir, or is it now afternoon? It's still morning. His Royal Majesty Eze Blessing Wago, the Wagidi the 40th, Nyeweli of Isiokpo. Welcome, sir, and good morning. Senator John Udoyedege is also here, and we say, welcome, Obongowo. Philip?
A few additional recognitions here. I'd like to welcome very specially Prince Uche Secondos, former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. I welcome you. And also, I'd like to welcome Senator Osita Izunaso. I welcome you. I'd like to welcome former governor of Cross River State, Senator Leil Imoke. I welcome you. And of course, one who has grown beyond a geopolitical figure to a national figure, I'd like to welcome Senator Ben Obi. I welcome you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Chief Dr. Oji Uzokalu is here represented by Dr. Rosemond Uche. I welcome you. Let me also welcome Senator Moses Cleopas. I welcome you very specially. May I also welcome George Fay, former SSG River State, I welcome you. Chief Emeka Beke, I also would like to welcome you. Former military administrator of Yobe State is here with us. His Excellency, Group Captain Ben Kalio, retired, I welcome you. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while we prepare for all right, whilst we try to welcome the moderator members of the panel, I'd like to request for just 2 seconds breather. Can you please just turn to your left and right neighbors and then give them a lovely smile? A smile, would you just smile to your neighbors and say welcome to them in your local dialect? No English, please. Just say welcome to your neighbors in your dialect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. In the spirit of the lecture, after saying hello in your dialect, we would want to welcome right now some distinguished personalities who will be discussing briefly some of the lessons taken away from the keynote lecture by Dr. Amuta. Distinguished guests, let me quickly bring up first His Eminence, Cardinal John Olorunfemi Onayekon. Please welcome him as he comes forward. For many who may not know him, when you see him, you will say, oh, I know him. I watch him on TV. Because almost every time in the past 30, 40 years, whenever there's serious discourse of national interest, whether it is religious or not, he has, Your Eminence, sir, you're welcome. He has key points to make, and today he honors Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi to share his thoughts. Quickly also, I'll welcome the brilliant and fearless legal mind, Ms. Funke Aboyede, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Please receive her warmly as she comes up. Leonard Silk, legal luminary, media trailblazer, pioneer of the This Day lawyer. If you would follow her column, on This Day you will see she talks about the intersection of law and leadership, and she will be sharing her insights from the lecture today. Ma'am, welcome and good morning. Finally, joining this panel is Professor Usman Yusuf. Please receive him as he comes forward. We cannot talk about poverty as a weapon without looking at perspectives of policy. He served as Executive Secretary to the National Health Insurance Scheme. He's a globally trained medical professor. He is unapologetically blunt in his summations on policy and reform, and today he will share his thoughts. And I hand over now to my boss, also known as DAP. Please welcome my boss.
Thank you, Joyce. Let me welcome our panelists. We'll go straight to the business of the day.
Sir.
Cardinal, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir. You heard our guest speaker. You heard our guest speaker say that most recent data set is that 75% of Nigerians who live in the rural area are multidimensionally poor. And that over 45% of those who live in urban areas are also multidimensionally poor. Now, one is data, the other one is the lived experience of Nigerians. Do you agree with this data set and why? And so, can you just give us your comments on that?
Well, let me answer your question in one sentence. He said he got his data from the National Bureau of Statistics. I imagine they are the ones who have the resources to do the job. So I cannot but agree with the statistics. But more seriously, as we look around us, we certainly see that poverty is overwhelming. And the kind of poverty that is degrading. I was born in a poor family, but our poverty was with dignity. We were poor with dignity. When you have a poverty that rids you of your dignity as a human being and makes it even impossible for you to think, how can you build a nation on that? But before then, I knew I was going to be on this panel, and I had decided that I will wait for other people to talk, then I will come in. But since you have pulled me out now, let me say what I had wanted to say. That I wanted to bring a religious dimension to this whole discussion. Because we are in a country that is religious, whether we like it, whatever way you understand religion. And we all somehow believe in this almighty and merciful God, who is the creator of the entire universe. Let's not forget that this planet of ours is just a speck in the universe that God has created. The earth that we live in. I mean, the earth from here to Australia and to Honolulu is just a speck in the universe that God has created. But somehow, in this speck called the earth, God also created human beings. And the human beings are the apex of his creation. And when we are talking of Nigeria, we think the whole world is just here. No. What we do know, both in Islam religion and Christian religion, is that God provided for his creation. In fact, according to the scriptures, after God has created, he looked at his creation, and indeed, it was very good. And I'm sure it hasn't. God created the world well, and he has provided for all humanity. The whole human family are provided for. The great Gandhi said it already, that God has provided for the needs of every man under this earth. But he has not provided for their greed. If God has provided for the need of everybody in this world, he has certainly provided for the needs of every Nigerian. Because we have to bring the discussion down to our home. This country, Nigeria, we have enough for all of us to. Therefore, poverty cannot be God's will for us. And therefore, poverty is not natural. And when we hear the word weaponizing poverty, I shudder. It means then that poverty is not only a matter of mismanagement of resources, but that is a deliberate impoverization of the people for a purpose, to be able to control them. If that is what it is, then I will say poverty is not only mismanagement, it's not only criminal, it is even blasphemous.
Thank you very much, Cardinal. Thank you very much.
You are sabotaging God's intention for humanity. And that means it's not a matter for prayer and fasting. I'm a religious man. It's not a matter for prayer and fasting. It's a matter that those who have taken on the job of managing our affairs should wake up and manage the country in such a way that no child goes to bed hungry.
Thank you very much, Cardinal. We'll come back to you. Let's now get to our Leonard Silk, who embodies excellence, professionalism, and mastery of law. Funke Aboyede SN. Leonard Silk, our guest speaker, said certain features about Nigeria's poverty are very. The demographic rate of increase of our poor population is the highest in the world. The first is, do you agree with this assertion that the demographic rate of increase of our poor population is the highest in the world? Of course, my understanding is that whereas in other nations, China, for example, people are being lifted out of poverty. In India, they've made a lot of progress. However, in Nigeria, the inverse is the case. More Nigerians are being pushed to poverty. That's the core argument of our guest speaker, that more and more Nigerians daily are being pushed below the poverty line. That's one. So do you agree with that? And what are the peculiar features of Nigerian poverty? Now, poverty in other places means they can still afford a meal. Here, our guest speaker is saying that ours is different. We don't even have access to education, access to quality health care. Do you agree with him? What is the different dimension of Nigerian poverty?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Peter Side. Sure, is this working? Before I answer, in answering that question, again, I will reference what Cardinal said. It's not about me agreeing. It's a reality, whether I agree or not. So is this working? It doesn't seem to be working. It's a reality, and this has to be brought out. If I may go back a bit, even the title of the lecture, Democracy and the Republic of Poverty, it's provocative, and I think rightly so, because we need to wake up. When I say we, I mean governments, national and subnational. We need to wake up and smell the coffee. So perhaps it's time to stop being politically correct and call a spade a spade. There's poverty. I don't think anyone here doesn't know anybody who is not poor or even multidimensionally poor. So whether I agree or not with him, it's a fact. It's a fact that Nigerians are poor. And I think perhaps, like I said, it's time to stop being politically correct. The only thing is that in our climes at least, the politicians, leaders, yes, poverty has been weaponized by them. Poverty and desperation are used to get what they want, to be elected and re-elected. So that is something we should look at. If you look at the paper of the guest lecturer, very brilliant, by the way, he uses terms like aggressive poverty, migration into poverty. Every day, 50 Nigerians are entering that sphere. We're not lifting anybody out. You've mentioned China. Even India, that at one time was a poverty capital of the world, I think we've either overtaken or they've overtaken us. But they have just 6% of their population in extreme poverty. We have 33%, a full 1/3. Those are things that should bother us. I know you haven't asked this. I'm not sure if I'll have the opportunity to say it again. But there's a part of the lecturer's paper that I want to speak to. And in it, he said, the central question is, how do we observe the formal imperatives of our US-type presidential democracy and find the resources to grow an economy that caters for the myriad poor and the development of the country? My first question is, should we maintain our US-type presidential democracy? That is my question. Why do we have to maintain it? Is it working? Even he did emphasize the US type one. I remember many years ago, Hillary Clinton came to, I think it was Ghana, somewhere in West Africa, and she made a comment about democracy and how Africa needs to have strong institutions, not strong men. And I remember at that time, I disagreed with her vehemently. I thought she was patronizing and talking down at us. Well, as it turns out, and I'm not gloating, that comment has not aged well in her own country right now. It hasn't aged well. So I want to ask what type of democracy we should be having. Is it like Singapore? I use Singapore as an example because shortly after I was born, Singapore was thrown out of the Malaysian Federation. It had nothing. It was behind us. It wasn't anywhere near Nigeria in terms of GDP. I remember my mother went there in the mid-70s, and she came back waxing lyrical. Because of that, I visited Singapore. In the space of 15 years, I think I went about 7 times. My first trip, I was taken around by her friend, a professor at a university there. And she would tell me, oh, this place was a slum before. Oh, this place, they used to sell fried food on the road, right in the center of the road. And the whole place was so developed. So is it the US-style democracy we need? Or a benign democracy, or benign dictatorship? I know this may get some hackles up, but it's the truth. Because look at Singapore today.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
I will still come back to you. Let me now invite...
I thought I was free.
Let me now invite Professor Yusuf Usman, a medical doctor, sharp analytical man, eminent scholar. Prof, I've listened to you severally. And today, and this is something I think you're passionate about. I know you're very passionate about this. Let me also make reference to what our keynote speaker said. And I quote him. What we are witnessing is a deliberate weaponization of poverty as a political strategy. Government policies are deliberately designed to deepen the levels of poverty and desperation. Prof.
Yes, sir.
Prof. Please, what is your take on this? Right. And for the panelists, I'll still come back one more list, and then I'll give you a chance to give your final parting words. So,
right.
Prof, weaponization of poverty,
Excellency,
deliberate political strategy.
You want to put me in trouble again? You want to send me to Kuje? You want to send me back to Kuje? It's okay. But no, seriously, why? And I always say this, I love talking to youth wherever I go in this country, but I see them as a picture of me when I was much younger. And I tell them, ladies and gentlemen, the state that Nigeria is in today, we bore the pregnancy and gave birth to what Nigeria is today. All of us. And in psychiatry, there's this thing you call insight. If a person has a psychiatric problem and he says, he agrees he has a psychiatric problem, his prognosis is much better than a person who is in denial. So we have to accept we bore the pregnancy and gave birth to the mess that Nigeria is today. All of us. Why am I in this? People say there is an old pathologist, German pathologist, that said medicine is a social science. But politics is medicine on a larger scale. All we are seeing in hospitals, we see the sufferings of our people every day. Every day. We see hunger, we see death, we see inequity, and we're here in Abuja talking the Abuja talk. I go back home and I sit down in front of our Dekali and say, what has changed in the 65 years of my life, in the lives of our people? How much? The 5 commonest killers of children in the tropics are 5. Malaria, diarrheal diseases, pneumonia, malnutrition, and vaccine-preventable diseases. None of this require a doctor. All of these are social problems. All of them. All of them. So we went to America, we copied. We came here and pasted. There is a saying, if you do not know how to paste, do not copy. Is this for us? And how are we going to domesticate it to our resources and to our people? We are here because we love this country and we love it more than life itself. This country has given us more than we can ever give back. We, the children of the poor and the children of the rich, line up and got Bulgaria and Zaria. The primary schools we went to, the village primary schools we went to, and secondary schools, we went into the world and competed favorably in some of the best centers in the world. In my household, There are 3 people we always pray for at the end of each of our 5 daily prayers. Our parents departed because they raised us all well. They taught us the values of honesty, dedication, and respect for fellow human beings. Secondly, our teachers, both Islamic and modern. They taught us very well. But thirdly, most importantly, leaders of our time. They invested in us. They invested in us. In the village primary school, secondary school, we went into the world and competed favorably. And unless we that now are the leaders, accept that it is our failing and do the right thing, we'll continue to go around this circle. Let me give you just a very brief thing. I remember watching a clip of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano. He was standing in, dropping some royal tears. I was very touched. Why? He was narrating a story of a woman that came to his palace. And many people come to the palaces of our traditional rulers and our clergy. They don't go to the governor's mansions. This woman went to the hospital with her child. Written medication. She didn't have the money to pay. And they all come to the palace. She was waiting for her turn. Before her turn came to see the emir had a scream. A woman screamed and there was commotion. What happened? This poor child, she came to get no more than $3,000 from the emir, died on her back before she could see him. No more than 3,000. We see that all across this country. All across this country. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why I'm in this. We see the sufferings of our people. We know what this country has given us. We know what this country can give our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Cardinal, I can rightly describe you as the moral compass of society. Our guest speaker made the point that there is a relationship between poverty and electoral corruption. Do you agree with him that poverty is an enabler of electoral corruption? That poverty is a specific strategy, intentional, properly designed to enable, to facilitate electoral corruption? And how can we reverse that? Is poverty an enabler of electoral corruption?
There are 2 points I'm trying to wrap my head around in what you have just said. I'm still trying to imagine that a group of people should sit down and decide to impoverish the people for their political gain. I'm just trying to understand, is that possible? And what do they gain from that? Or is it the devil? I don't know. Well, normally, according to the church that I belong, politics is supposed to be a sacred engagement that people who are qualified go into, not minding their personal interest, but so as to manage the society in a good way, for the good of the people and to the glory of Almighty God. In other words, you don't go into politics to make money for yourself. You don't go into politics to impoverish people, weaponize poverty. So I still cannot understand that. As for electoral election not working well, I think we all know the reason why now. We all know the reason why. In my own understanding, the reason is because those who control the electoral process, those who are in government, do not really want us to be the ones to choose who our rulers will be. The whole question of we want free and fair election, that the people who aspire to office should sit down quietly in their homes on election day and wait for the results to come to know whether the people want them or not. If that is not what our political culture is, then we are not even thinking of democracy. We are not even thinking of democracy. Professor Amuta said, when you impoverish people so much, they have now arrived at the situation where they don't even believe, they don't think it is worth their while leaving the comfort of their homes to go and vote. So they stay at home after collecting stomach infrastructure. But is that how to build a great nation in the year 2025? Democracy is not a magic, which is why you have so many types of it, including the illiberal democracy, which is purely dictatorship, or one-party democracy, which is purely the dictatorship. They all call themselves democracy. For me, I don't worry too much whether you call it democracy or not. What I ask is there good governance? Are people having justice done to them? Can a poor child not die on the back of her mother? That's what it's all about. If whatever you do and that doesn't happen, we are not serious.
Thank you very much. Just before I come to our Leonard Silk, let me read a text message. Or is it a text message that was sent to my phone? As we celebrate the Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, we must also confront the deeper question his example of patriotism and courage poses to all of us. Are we building a nation that values patriotic and courageous leadership? Or are we just interested in talk show? I just got this message and I was touched. Maybe I may have to repeat it one more time. As we celebrate the Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, we must also confront the deeper question his example of patriotism and courage poses to all of us. Are we building a nation that values patriotic and courageous leadership as he symbolized, or we're just interested in talk show? Food for thought. Leonard Silk. Dr. Muda made the point that poverty has become a national security issue of urgent concern. Do you see any link between poverty and the prevalent insecurity in the land? And what can we do to come out of this conundrum? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yes, of course, there's a link. I mean, if you look at developed countries and their rate of poverty, which is minimal, they don't have these sorts of security issues. So when we have a country that has overtaken Sudan, we've overtaken Sudan of all countries, it's a nation that's at war in terms of the numbers of malnourished children who go to bed hungry. So those are issues. Of course, there's a link between that and what we see all around us. Banditry, kidnappings, terrorism, all sorts of things. It's related. And for me, we're sitting on a keg of gunpowder. You know, there's a joke that says if you push a Nigerian to the wall, he will go through the wall. But as we've seen recently, it's not so. It's not so. If you push people far enough or hard enough, they will react. I could go back to the French Revolution, I could go back to history, but right here we've all experienced what happened during EndSARS. It began as a as a rebellion against police brutality. But look what it morphed into. Look how many people joined this and then made it into something else. Buildings were burnt down, people were killed. So there's a direct relationship. Sorry, what was your second question? I forget.
No, and how can we solve this problem?
I think we know what to do. You mentioned talk shop. We've had so many talk shops in this country. We have one every day, one every week. Our leaders, our governments, they know what to do. If they're not ready to do it, maybe it will be done for them, whether by force or not by force, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. That's the stage we've gotten to now. So I think it's in the enlightened self-interest of governments, national and sub-national, to do what they ought to do. I'm not going to sit here pontificating about free and universal basic education, health care, shelter, right to sanitation. No, we know what to do. Do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Prof, our learned silk cannot claim to, she's seen insecurity everywhere, but it's your own lived experience. You encounter insecurity every day. So I'll take you back to the same question. As a man who has traversed the northwestern, northeastern, north central part of the country, and you've seen the effect of insecurity. Anyway, by the way, no society can develop if the society is not safe and secure, if there's no rule of law, where there's no order. Rule of law is not necessarily about democracy. What is your take about this issue of poverty and insecurity? And in 3-4 words, how can we solve this problem of insecurity where poverty is the driver? We clearly know that there appears to be a consensus from all who have said here that poverty is the driver of insecurity, is the facilitator of insecurity. How can we solve this problem of insecurity? We've tried kinetic methods. It doesn't seem to work.
Good. And I always say, the two twin evils that are causing all these insecurity problems are corruption and bad governance. End of story. Go no further. Go no further. Corruption and bad governance. And I see the frustration of our military. We are bringing them to clean up the mess of politicians. There's so much they can do. A lot of these things are social problems. Kinetic is just about 10%, if that. 90% of that is social problems. People that have no opportunities, nothing to do, hunger and everything, they pick up arms, they are now the kings. We are all shaking before them. If we do not take care of corruption and insecurity and realize 90% of our insecurity are social problems and keep throwing money and resources and body onto the kinetic arm, we will never get there. Seriously. We all grew up in a country that was much poorer than it is today. Much poorer than it was today, than it is today. We didn't have people picking up arms. We are not listening. There was one time I was presenting to military chiefs, and I was saying, I put up a slide, the grievances of bandits, and they say, stop. We all have grievances. I say, good. So this is the problem in this country. You do not listen to the grievances of people until they pick up arms. That's when you listen to their grievances. You may see them as minor and irrelevant to you. You dismiss them. All these bandits we see now they are terrorizing all over the place. These were the people we used to not take seriously. Now we're scared of them. We do not have, I'm a doctor, if you do not have a diagnosis, you cannot write a prescription. We are not making an effort to find out what the problems are. We are throwing resources and body and thinking we will solve our problem. Solve corruption and bad governance and address the social issues.
A round of applause. Please, can we appreciate the panelists? Cardinal Sir, thank you very much. Leonard Seal, thank you very much. Professor Osman, thank you very much. I wish we had more time, but we have goodwill messages that will end with Waziri Adamawa. 9 persons will give short goodwill messages. I deliberately announced that it will end with Waziri Adamawa because for as long as he has not made his comments, everybody will wait. And that's why I'm deliberate. So it will end with Waziri Adamawa, former Governor El-Rufai, His Majesty, Emir of Kano. If you don't want to listen to these 3 persons, you can go. But I know that you cannot afford not to listen to these 3 persons. May I now invite our celebrant and the wife to please have a photograph with our panelists, please. Celebrant and the wife to do a quick photograph with the panelists. Then we'll go straight to the goodwill messages. Governor Seraki Dixon is with us here.
Thank you, sir. Please, let's also appreciate the wonderful moderation of Dr. Dakuku Adol Peter's side. Okay, please, photographers, please bend, please. The official media people are behind you. His dear wife is here as well. Whilst all of that was going on, we had the Chairman Public Accounts Committee at the House of Representatives come in. We celebrate your presence, Honorable Bamidele Salam. Thank you for honoring us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And whilst we prepare for goodwill, I'd like to recognize a few of important guests here, just a few recognitions. I'd like to recognize Dr. Sokonte Davis, former member of the House of Representatives. I welcome you. Honorable Imachinda, I welcome you. Dr. Sylvia Cole, I welcome you. David Okumba, I welcome you. Barrister Zubi, I welcome you. And as we proceed, we'll recognize some other guests. One more time, I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To start off the goodwill messages right away, please join me receive His Highness Khalifa Mohammed Sanusi II, the Emir of Kano, former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please receive him as he comes forward to grace us with his words of goodwill. He's a man after the heart of Nigerians, against not only poverty but bad governance. And so it makes all the sense that he is here today to share with us his thoughts and goodwill to the gentleman who is now 60 years old. If your hands are still free, please put them together very warmly as he makes his way to the stage. You're welcome, Your Highness.
Your Excellency, Vice President Atiku, Your Excellencies, Governors, members of the National Assembly, Your Highness the Emir of Dutse and other Royal Highnesses present, the celebrant, my brother, Rotimi Amaechi and his wife, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to have been invited to this event and to have the opportunity to say a few words. And let me begin on a personal note by congratulating Governor Amaechi on achieving this milestone. He's a friend I've known from his days as Governor of Rivers. I would like to wish you happy celebrations and many, many more years of service to our country. Well, since the professor has decided to call me out, the reality about poverty in Nigeria is that many of the elite really do not even know what poverty is. A lot of the time we talk about these numbers. The example the professor gave was a very potent example. In all my life as an economist, as a banker, as a governor of the central bank, I looked at these numbers. X% of Nigerians living on less than $1 a day. X% of Nigerians in multidimensional poverty. And the numbers are bad, but you don't know how bad they are until you actually go and look into the eyes of poverty. The case of that lady was an eye-opener for me. I did not know poverty until I became an emir. When you actually go to a village, see the water they drink, see the house they live in. When you're told there's a primary school in a village and it is a 2-classroom school without a roof and without a teacher. When you see malnutrition and you see their children, how they look, then you understand what poverty is. And the reality is, even the poverty we see in the urban areas in Kano or Lagos is nothing. It is nothing. You actually have to go where the majority of our people live to know what poverty is. So the first question I think we have to ask ourselves as leaders, not just the political leaders, all of us, is, do we actually love the people, or do we just love ruling over them? Do we actually love Nigerians as human beings? You can say, I love Nigeria. What is Nigeria? It's the people who live there. What are our priorities? Many years ago when I was in banking, the president of the World Bank came and he had a town hall meeting. I think it was in the Sheraton or the Hilton. And he said he wanted to meet for a change ordinary Nigerians. And a gentleman, when it came to QIA, a gentleman from Kogi asked a question. It was an interesting question. He said, look, the village I live in, there is a river that we have to cross when it is not rainy season because there's no bridge. The only reason I made Abuja is that it's dry season and I could walk through that river to go and get a car. But my surprise is I came to Abuja and I saw so many bridges and there's no water. It was a profound statement. We build overheads and underpasses for ourselves, we build skyscrapers, and we think we are developing. Meanwhile, people cannot come out from their village to go to hospital. Pregnant women cannot get antenatal care. There is no concern, there is no investment in emergency services. Just yesterday, 115 people died in Mokwa from floods. So, I think we should come back to that basic question. Do we love the people? Because if we do, they will not be uneducated. If we do, they will not be malnourished. If we do, they will not die hungry. These statistics have no meaning unless, this is the only country where you say inflation of 25%, 30%, and it's like saying it rained yesterday. At 18% inflation, the price of everything doubles every 4 years. 18. We have been living with inflation of over 30%. For how many years? So imagine someone who is just able to afford 2 square meals a day, and the price of food doubles every 2 years. By now, he has starved to death. And finally, for all those who are saying, we have to be careful before the country, before we get into a crisis, please wake up. We're living with banditry, with Boko Haram, with insecurity, and you're still saying that there will be a problem. What are we waiting for now? We are already there. We are already in crisis. So please, let's stop saying, let us stop before. No, it has already happened. The question is, how do we get out of this situation? I'm going to keep quiet because if I speak for 5 more minutes, there'll be a very bad headline. Thank you very much.
Your Highness, we are so grateful for your contributions. We are so grateful for sparing us that headline, but the message has been passed across very clearly. Please appreciate His Highness as he returns to his seat. We respectfully ask that all our future speakers, we will be holding you to the 60-second mark, 1 minute, and perhaps the microphone might go off, but we mean no disrespect. Please, let's welcome together His Royal Highness Eze Victor Woluchem as he comes forward for his 1 minute of goodwill to the celebrant.
There's a timer. 1 minute, please. By the way, the paramount ruler of Isiokpo is here.
Your Excellencies, Your Royal Majesties, Your Highnesses, my lords, spiritual and temporal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is not a fairy tale that the 60th birthday of His Excellency, Right Honorable, and may I add, now Barrister Rotimi Amaechi, is eliciting so much passion. Why would the topic be poverty? Because he's a man who fights for the poor. Your Excellencies, the last time I was in a room with so many politicians with intimidating profiles, I was talking about Rotimi Amaechi. That was about 6 years ago. And let me recap what I said then. I said he's a trusted gentleman, he's tenacious, he's hardworking, he is stubborn, and he delivers.
Thank you very, very much.
And I'm here today to reaffirm that nothing has changed. Your Excellency, happy 60th birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you you, sir.
Your Majesty, thank you very, very much. 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
And no more protocols, please.
The next speaker is a man of so much worth and importance. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome former Governor of Niger State. I'd like to welcome His Excellency, Chief Servant of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, former governor, to step forward for Goodwill. Can we please give him a resounding round of applause?
The problem I have is that Chief Servant is an orator. But today,
No.
1 minute only, please.
Okay. The chairman or the acting chairman of the occasion, the former vice president, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you have known Amaechi. Those of us who work closely with him know about his radicalism and sometimes controversial position that he takes on matters. But I'm happy that he has mellowed now. Like that, my former, well, you don't say former, my boss, who was so radical when he was a minister, but now has also mellowed after reaching and passing 60. So those of us who are over 60, sometimes we tend to look back and say, why did the machine reduce the situation? So please, let us continue with the kind of problems that we have beyond poverty. Why is it that in our political culture that we have been producing, whether at the military level or at the civilian level, that we have been producing the worst of us in terms of leadership? We must find a way, as we discuss and as we talk, talk shop. Sometimes when you don't talk, you don't know the issues. We must find a way to really find our first 11 and put them forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Let me quickly recognize the presence of Her Excellency Dame Pauline Talon, former Minister for Women Affairs, who is seated very comfortably with us. Welcome, ma'am. Our next goodwill goes to General Tukur Buratai, man of very few words. We have no issues with him.
And
former Chief of Army Staff.
And 1 minute, Joyce.
Sir, 1 minute.
Is it 1 minute?
It's still 1 minute. As a military man, he knows 1 minute is 1 minute.
He understands?
Yes, sir. He knows it. We don't have an issue.
1 minute, sir.
Welcome, sir. Well, I'd like to request additional minutes because it's very important.
Those who are in support say aye. And those who are not in support say nay. Okay. You can see that the nays have it.
The ayes have it.
That is the Nigerian system.
Our chairman,
Nigerian standard.
Of the occasion, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Let me stand with already established protocol. But very importantly, I must acknowledge Cardinal Nayoko, long-standing friend to my boss, Major General Gabriel Pambe, blessed memory. Want to thank you and glad to see you again. You are looking great. This is a time for tribute, a goodwill message to the celebrant, Rotimi Amaechi. And also, I think I will take another minute to make a short remark on the speech or the lecture by the guest lecturer. My relationship with Amaechi dates back to 2011 when he was governor and I was 2 brigade commander. And I've seen in him a leader who thinks security, he eats security, he sleeps security, and works up with security. The period he served as governor, we all know what happened, what transpired. He is the first to invite me to the political terrain. I was in Benin, Cotonou. One evening he called me and said, come and join my political campaign for the primaries. And behold, I had no hesitation. And as such, what happened? What happened during the primaries? He came second in order of the votes. He scored 316, while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu scored 1,271. And we have the sitting vice president came after him, and the sitting Senate president came after him. The number 2 and number 3 in the order of precedence. What does that say? It means he has a great political future. I see Amaechi playing fully the political leadership of this country, and I think his political role has just fully started. Your Excellency, I say congratulations. Secondly, this is my opinion, my views. I'm not a member of this government of Tinubu, you all know, but we played a prominent role in ensuring that he won the elections. But the topic, democracy and the Republic of Poverty, I want to take a historical perspective in context of our country.
Thank you very, very much.
This has essentially been done systematically and influenced by the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. And you will see, during the time of IBB, the Structural Adjustment Program and the Belt Tightening policies, the foreign exchange, the regulation started fully during IBB's period. And also, it went on for the regulation, Shagari's era, Obasanjo's presidency, Jonathan's presidency, and of course, Buhari's presidency. We saw gradual pauperization of the Nigerians. The poverty level continuously increases, gradually then. But the only difference with this administration is that it came more radical. It is massive and sudden. It was not gradual. Listen to me. It was not gradual like the previous administration. It has its own advantages, this radical position. It shows a change from what we have been doing. We've been suffering gradually and smiling. But this time around, it came out fully to show that we must get it right because we cannot continue. This is my own opinion. The main challenge, finally, yes. The main challenge or the main challenges and of course disappointment of the majority of Nigerians are the seemingly insensitive or insensitivity to the massive impact of the government policy. Poverty and insecurity are real and we all know. And we believe probably the second half of this administration will make a difference. Otherwise, I can see the coalition working hard. Thank you and God
very,
bless.
One more time. King Blessing Wago, Yenweli Isiokpo, former Governor Liel Imoke, Senator John Udode, and now to the next.
Thank you. Just before the next speaker, my lady, ma'am, I'm so sorry we skipped the introduction.
Architect Mrs. Suswan, Her Excellency.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome to the microphone for his very quick words in 1 minute, former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El Rufai, as he comes forward. Will 1 minute work, sir?
Thank you. Your Excellency, Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the chairman of the occasion, the celebrants, Mr. Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi and Mrs. Judith Amaechi. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to say it on existing protocol. I am not standing behind the podium because I'm too short. You may not see me. So I'm coming out to be seen. First, very happy birthday to my brother. I still call him Governor Rotimi Amaechi, even though he has been many things before and after. I think it's unfair to ask me to speak for 1 minute on my brother Amaechi. 1 minute is too short for me to cover all the work we've done together, the political conspiracies, the successes and the failures. 1 minute is too short to cover our quarrels, because we quarrel, we make up. The last quarrel we had was when he lost the primaries and blamed me because I'm supposed to be a magician. If I had supported him, he would have been the winner of the primaries. And many people came to say, your brother is upset with you. I said, I know. Wait, when Nigeria is in bigger trouble, he will come, we'll work together. So here we are. We are back together because Nigeria is in its biggest trouble since 1914. We're together, working, conspiring to build a coalition to take Nigeria back on track, because it is off track. I just want to say one thing and then I will take my seat. Many people have spoken about weaponization of poverty and whether politicians are deliberately using poverty as a weapon. I don't think so. Poverty weaponizes itself if allowed to exist and fester. That's what has happened in Nigeria. I don't think politicians are that smart to even sit and weaponize poverty. And for me, having been in private sector and public service, and have been a keen observer of our political deterioration, I believe that the problem that we have, which I think Governor Babangida Aliyu referred to, is that we just get incompetent people and we hand over leadership to them. They don't know what to do. Most of them don't really know what to do. They just know how to grab power, but don't know what to do with it. And please, I would like to appeal to everyone here to reflect and look around. Wherever you see islands of progress in Nigeria, it is because a competent person has been given the opportunity to serve. I visited Rivers several times when Governor Amaechi was the governor. I could see examples of policies that were addressing the concerns of the people of Rivers State. From schools to primary health centers, hospitals, and so on. It was very clear. He had an opportunity, he knew what to do, and he did it. And wherever you see progress, it is because of that. What we have done in this country is to allow bandits, not the ones in the bushes, the urban bandits, to take over the governance of our country. And I think the key challenge for Nigerians in 2027 is really to look at those that are offering themselves for leadership and pick those that have the competence, capability, capacity, and commitment to make Nigeria move forward. And I believe the celebrant, Rotimi Amaechi, is one of the few ones that one can call capable, competent, and committed. Happy birthday, Excellency.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, sir. We are really grateful. Distinguished guests, we have with us His Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, GCON, ably represented by former Minister of Water Resources, Honorable Suleiman Adamu. Please welcome him for his 1 minute of...
Governor Bindo, we're seeing you very well.
Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Rotimi, I bring you greetings from His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, who is unavoidably absent. He welcomes you to the 6th floor, even though he says you still have 2 floors to catch up with him. President Buhari appreciates you very much, appreciates especially the role you played in 2015 and 2019 to get him elected as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is eternally indebted to you for your commitment and doggedness in seeing that happen. As his minister, President Buhari also appreciates the work you have done. You have changed the landscape of Nigeria with the railway lines, bringing them off the drawing board and putting them on ground all across the country, including my own state, if I may say. And His Excellency President Buhari also remembers with pride your role in initiating the Deep Blue project, which got Nigeria international recognition because we're able to stem the piracy that has been happening in the Gulf of Guinea. So when people talk about security, that you've been thinking security, I think that's a clear example of some of the initiatives that you put in place to secure our country, especially in the maritime sector. So President Buhari wishes you well, you and your family, wishes you many more years of joy, peace, and happiness in good health, and more role, as they say, as everybody is wishing for you to play in our national development. Happy birthday, Rotimi, from Mr. President and my very self, your aspiring partner in the council chamber.
Thank you very much. Governor Rotimi Amaechi, the celebrant, is very gender sensitive. And for that, we want to invite a former deputy governor, former minister, gender activist, champion of good causes, Her Excellency, Colin Tarling, to give 1 minute goodwill message. This is a special request by Her Excellency Judith Chubike Rotimi Amaechi.
All right, one more time. Her Excellency Dame Pauline Tarling, OFRO, former Minister of Women Affairs, former Deputy Governor of Plateau State. I welcome you.
Thank you very much, my dear sister, for giving me the honor to honor my brother as he joined us in the Diamond Age. I stand on all existing protocols. Congratulations and happy birthday, my dear brother. Today is a day I'm sure you've been praying and looking forward to. I thank God for your life. I celebrate you as you join us on the 6th floor. I pray that God will continue to use you mightily for humanity. Happy birthday. Judith, keep on taking good care of him. You've done well. Everyone can see it. And thank you all for all of us that have gathered to celebrate this great man. Thank you and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Please, I just got superior directive, please. 1 minute, Senator Seraki Dixon. 1 minute. And after then, we'll go to the big masculine, the lion, statesman.
Again, we'd like to welcome His Excellency Senator Henry Seraki Dixon, the Ofrima Pepe One of Africa. I welcome you.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Thank you very much. I think I will go beyond 1 minute, but it won't be too much.
Your Excellency.
Your Excellencies,
beginning with the former Vice President, Waziri, governors who are here, your Royal Majesties and Highnesses, and in particular my brother and his dear wife, the Celebrant, and all of you, our leaders, friends, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like, on behalf of my family and I, to congratulate my dear brother and his wife and his family on achieving the very significant milestone of 60. It seems to me that we may have conspired at the other side, but he came to this sphere few months before I did. I will be 60 January. So I congratulate you. And I want to use this opportunity to thank Madam for taking very good care of our brother. He's actually looking far younger than 60. We are all here with Chief Oyegu, His Excellency, who is our leader here. Secondos is here, Leo, and all of us as part of this national audience, but also as people from our zone who are here, with Senator Odoide here, all of us here to congratulate and show solidarity with our brother. And by doing so, look up to a future politics that will transcend vitriol and division and disagreements of the past. Amaechi, congratulations. While we were governors, I can attest to the fact that you invested seriously in security. You were flushing out criminals from River State, just as I was also from Bayelsa, flushing them out from Bayelsa. And they had difficulty
Thank you, sir.
determining where to run to. It's not enough. It's good for governors to build roads and flyovers, but then you must identify priorities. Security, investing in education, investing in health care, building security, and showing and demonstrating democratic temper in the way you handle and manage people.
Thank you,
And
sir.
on a light note, when I came in here and climbing up here, I've seen a lot of you, and as my brother El Rufai has said, there are a number of you who are expert conspirators, who know how to assemble coalitions and then take over governments as you did to my party 2015. And when you did so, particularly to a clueless government, so-called, now 11 years down the line, we thought that there would have been no weaponization of poverty.
Thank you, sir.
And that all the challenges of Nigeria would have been gone.
Thank you.
But 11 years down the line, here we are, assembled to still bemoan the fate of our country. And the only advice I can give, not being a professional coalition builder and conspirator, as some of you are, is that this time, shine your eyes.
Thank you so much.
As you build
Thank
coalitions and conspire, shine your eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday. God bless you all.
Your Excellency,
Thank you very, very
Sarah K.
much.
Dixon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No,
And now, to the unifier, bridge builder, minister of good governance, fighter, our former vice president, Adamawa, Waziri Adamawa. He's not just Waziri Adamawa. Governor El Rufai once referred to him as Waziri Nigeria, Minister of Good Governance for Nigeria.
Yes.
His Excellency, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
GCON. Ladies and gentlemen, receive him with an applause. He continues to make his way forward. Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party 2023. Bridge builder. Thank you for honoring us with your presence, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me copy Erufai so that I can stay away from the podium. Your Excellency, Governor Rotimi Amaechi and Mrs. Amaechi, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I make my few remarks, I want to amend a little bit of amendment and state weaponization of poverty. Why I say so, when I was growing up in the North, the most prosperous city or state was Kano State. The most prosperous. And incidentally, as soon as I finished my secondary school, my first location was Kano State. I never saw people sleeping outside. Then there were no bridges or flyovers. I never saw people sleeping outside or outside the shops in Kano State. Recently, people were all over state sleeping under the bridge, on the streets, who were driven out by poverty and insecurity. There is a state agency in Kano responsible for providing succor to such people. And they started doing their work and enlightening people and removing people from under the bridges and outside on the streets. What happened? They were called to Abuja and they were told to stop it. That is why I said I wanted to amend the topic of today to add state weaponization of poverty. This particular government is weaponizing poverty. You may call me a conspirator, you may call me anything, and that is why we are in this alliance, to make sure we don't allow them to continue weaponizing policy. Of course, one of our star conspirators is Governor Rotimi Amaechi. Therefore, we are here to wish you many happy returns of the day, and we will continue to conspire with you to make sure we minimize poverty and we don't use state machinery to weaponize poverty. I thank you very much. God bless you all.
Again, can we please put our hands together for the 11th and former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Just before the celebrant will give his speech, may I invite the celebrant? Please, can you move the cake? Move the cake. May I invite the celebrant to cut the cake, his birthday cake? Okay, after his speech, please. After his speech, he will be joined by Senator Leo Limoke, Governor, Vice Marshal Sadiq, the Emir.
Dakoko, just a minute, please. His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate a remarkable milestone, the 60th birthday of His Excellency, right?
There's no time.
Why are you laughing? There is nothing new. He wants to give you my CV. You already have heard it from others. So, absolutely no time. Your Excellency, the former Vice President, Your Highnesses, my dear brother, Emir of Kano and Emir of do say. Our religious leaders, Your Excellency, former governors, former senators, former members of House of Reps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to start this conversation by thanking my wife. By thanking God first. By thanking God first, thanking my wife and my 3 kids, and then thanking Dr. and Mrs. Peter Odili, and then thanking my mother and my father. My father is late, but my mother is still alive. My mother should be 87 and somewhere in my house. Let me make it clear to those of you seated here. I met President Tinubu in Yola, and I told him I will not work for you, and I will not vote for you in Yola. I did not vote for Tinubu, and I will not have voted for him. That is, I told him in advance. Why I'm saying this is because people in Rivers have been writing, he didn't work for PDP, he didn't work for APC, he didn't support Tinubu. I told him in advance before the election, so it wasn't a matter of whether I did or not. I made him know that because I was convinced that there was an issue of capacity. You have raised issues here. Most of those who raise the issues of capacity, some of us who are here raising issues of capacity, are also those who vote on ethnic and religious basis, or who spoil innocent, uneducated people who are poor to voting for people for the reasons of religion and ethnicity. That's why we are here. And let me tell you, it's a conspiracy of the elites. Forget, when we sit here, we look at what is the best way to go to grab power. We don't care for you. No Nigerian leader cares for you. And the reason why no Nigerian leader cares for you is because you will do nothing. You protested. At the end of the protest, the president announced increase in price of fuel because you will do nothing. It's an absolutely do-nothing society. You may not know. One of the reasons I committed was your level of knowledge. I respect people who are more brilliant than me. You, him, Professor Wole Soyinka, that's how the friendship started. The reason, I don't know figures, so you know figures. And I respect you for the level of knowledge of economics. In fact, if you are not here and I was a president, you would have played a prominent role in the government I will serve. I don't care where you come from, for Christ's sake. It's about moving the country forward. We don't want to move the country forward. If you're not ashamed, I'm ashamed. My passport was seized in Germany. I did nothing. My offense is that I'm carrying a green passport. They kept me for nearly 30 minutes, and I was going for a medical checkup in Vienna. Show us your hotel. Listen, I should. Show us a return ticket. I should. Wait. Just because I'm carrying a green passport. So if you're not ashamed, I am. I am. That's why I picked up this topic. And let me tell you why I picked up this topic. Nigerian leaders and elites are not the problems of Nigeria. The problems of Nigeria are the followership. The leaders, look, when people say Nigeria is a capital, there are no capitalists in Nigeria. Capitalists are those with capital to invest for production. Do we produce here? Everybody relies on oil. Everybody wants to. That's why once you become president, you will see what will happen. As soon as you become president, you will not know Christians from Muslims. You will not. They are all coming towards you to just have a hand in the stealing. That's what happens. So I look at Nigeria and I ask myself, what are we actually doing here? Do we really want to be a country? If we want to be a country, I'll give you an example of my stay in government. I was shocked at a lady that gave an appointment. And I thought the lady was a destabilized Nigeria. Her only call to power was going to see the president and speaking Hausa Fulani language. And I was ashamed. Very ashamed. Because I was looking for those who can change the country. And I told her, I am putting you in this place because I want you to change that place. It doesn't matter whether all the people that served under me were from the north or south or east. What was important is how do you change this country? Growing up, you as young men, I will tell you what you didn't enjoy. Growing up, we had NANS meeting in Kano. We started the meeting 12 midnight, finished at 6 a.m. It's okay. so that SSS does not arrest us. Each person go find your way back to BUK. We had it in a private house. I missed my way in Kano because I don't know where is BUK. I only saw somebody, a man from Kano. Where is BUK? The person took me to Kano, BUK. If it's not, they will kidnap me. Look, the ordinary northerner who is a Muslim has no problem with the ordinary southerner who is Christian. It is when it comes to election, they will tell you, let them show you in Islam, where it says, don't say with a Christian. They cannot show you. They will only do that and say, this man is a Muslim, vote for him. Now you have Muslim ticket. Let Muslim market come out now. It can't. We are all hungry. All of us are. If you're not hungry, I am. You may laugh. So for us, the opposition, if you want us to remove the man in power, we can remove him from this power. When we are students, we organized the Taisho Larin protest against Babangida. We organized protests against Buhari. And believe me, there was no north and south in the students. The protests that shut down ABU, University of Nigeria and Soka, University of Lagos and all that, the meeting took place in Kano. When we finished the meeting at night, everyone was told to go back to his school and mobilize school. Once the NAS president addressed a press conference, all of us were on the streets. You will see a northerner, young, handsome northerner, with a young, handsome southerner, feeling free and eating the same kind of food. Today, we are poisoning the minds of our young men. Even them can't even liberate themselves. We were able to liberate ourselves. Whatever I am today in terms of radicalism is Dr. Chidamota. Because if you read sociology of literature, it's about Marxism. It's about socialism. Yes, there are also capitalist ideas. In Nigeria, there are no capitalist ideas, there are no socialist ideas among the politicians. It's about sharing. The quarrel among the elites is about sharing. So, sir, we want to submit to the opposition if the opposition can lead us out of this problem. And for the opposition to lead us out of this problem, we must all agree to submit ourselves to the interests of the nation first, before the interests of ourselves. That's why I chose this topic. And I like the amendment you made. It's actually state weaponization, because it's not you. It's the state. Even though they are not deliberately weaponizing like he said. They don't have the idea. They don't know how to weaponize you. They don't know. But where the state comes in is, yes, they don't know how to weaponize you. They are weaponizing you inadvertently by stealing the money they should have given you. If I were president, yes, some of the policies they are pursuing, I will pursue them. But ask, what's the failure? The failure is the gains of those policies are in their private. If they bring those gains, okay, at the time we were paying close to 4 to 5 trillion naira for oil subsidy. So they've stopped it. Why is the 4 to 5 trillion naira? If they dump it on the economy, you will not be crying. We are hedging dollar, right? Between naira and dollar. Now you've stopped. Where is the savings? President Tinubu said it has, what's it called? Our suffering has come to an end. Yesterday or before yesterday. Has anybody's diet changed? How many of you can buy a cup of garri at the rate? You know, the problem with Nigeria is, if you say the last president was very bad, the incoming one will be worse. When the incoming one takes over, the one before him will have become a king. We will not be wishing that person took over. Because it is a country of sharing money. I thank you for coming. Trust me, I thank you. Waziri, I thank you for coming. In fact, I came to you only once. And you obliged me the request. Emir, I spoke to Emir on the phone. The rest of you, just once, people were telling me, I should have called them several times, should have visited them. But I was honored. I worked with Gerard Buratai. I worked with Sadiq. I don't know, Sadiq was here. I didn't know you were from the north. I didn't give a damn. You didn't even behave as if you were from the north. Service, gentlemen, let's sit down. How do we solve the problem of the River State? On security. You remember when we came, there used to be roadblocks everywhere, until somebody called me and said, look, nobody will invest in River State if we see roadblocks. And I met people. People said, you agree with me? And we agreed and removed all the roadblocks. When we did, everybody was shocked. How can you remove roadblocks? We did. 2 policies. Insecurity is 99.9% poverty. When Boko Haram started, they said, they were anti-Christians. Is Boko Haram not killing Muslims? It is because hunger does not know religion. So Boko Haram was not selecting Christians and killing them. No. Boko Haram was killing both Muslims and what? And Christians. And let me tell you what I was taught in the university. I don't know if Dr. Amota will agree to this. I'm sure he must have left. I was taught that it is rebellion. That is their own form of protest. They are protesting against the elites. So because they are protesting against the elites, they can't catch the elites. The elites have guns. Here, if you see the number of guns here to protect all of us, not to protect you. So when they look at us, they can't catch us. Who did they catch? They are fellow poor men. And when I was governor, when there is an increase in insecurity, I know there is no money in the system. Where is Commissioner for Finance? He became SSG. He's here. What do I tell you? I say, go and release money. Pay contractors. Pay salary. Pay more money. And once you pay, insecurity will do what? So it's about poverty. It's about poverty. But currently, everybody wants to amass wealth. The current government and their agencies and people working with them, they are not even afraid. If you see the kind of houses they are building, if they are not afraid, I am ashamed for them because they have no name. But they say in the River State, they will say, who name pay? So I thank you. I will hope that all of us can come in the evening where we have the dinner. I thank those of you who have organized this reception. I thank those of you who have come. I thank Governor Suswan and my colleagues. Governor of Niger says he was more radical than me, and he was older. And as an older radical, you are not a good radical because you're too old. So when he said I'm radical, he was more radical. I was impressed in the Governor's Forum. I thank you people for giving me support. Him, Governor Sule Lamido, and all others, they pushed me on with their radical ideas. Maybe behind me, maybe you were talking about religion and it's important. At the Governor's Forum, we didn't do religion. We didn't do ethnicity. What we took was Nigeria. When we dissect Nigeria, some will support, some will oppose. Anybody, when we vote, once the majority takes the position, everybody will join the majority. So I thank my colleagues who have come here, and I thank the Emir of Duse and Emir of Kano. I thank you very much. I thank my former chairman of party when I was in PDP, Prince Secondus, and IGP. I thank my brother governors of Bayelsa. Liel and I were very, very close when we were in Governor's Forum. Me, Liel, and Oduan. It was a good friendship that we ate together, laid on the same listen together, and all that. So, Liel, I thank you. I thank all those who have come from River State for this show, for this thing. And then today's dinner will be the last ceremony we will have. Once more, Your Excellency, the former Vice President, I'm grateful.
Please, can we stand up and give the celebrant a round of applause? He's deserving. Thank you very much. May I now invite the celebrant and the wife. And we have only one moderator for the cutting of the cake. Governor Liel Imoke is the only moderator. Governor Liel Imoke, please, to conduct the cutting of the cake. After the celebrant and the wife, we will invite the former vice president and Club of Governors first. After Club of Governors, we will just batch by batch.
Thank you. Your Excellency, former Vice President, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Majesty, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are about to cut the cake as we celebrate this very young man as he turns 60, along with his beautiful wife. And I'm thinking of the appropriate word for us to use at this time. I've thought of many words for my friend and my brother, Rotimi, but the right adjective is difficult. And normally, cake cutting is supervised by women. So this effort by a man, all the weddings and ceremonies I go to.
Maybe I should invite Mrs. Suswan to join you. Where's Mrs. Suswan?
Mrs. Suswan, come and join, please. So that we understand this process. There's an art to it. I'll wait for her to join us.
Architect Mrs. Suswan.
Architect Mrs.
Okay, so we can cut the cake now.
Thank you. I have able support now, so I feel more confident. She will whisper into my ear on how this goes. I thought of appropriate words, descriptive words for Rotimi. I thought of courageous. I thought of dogged. I thought of focused. I thought of committed. And I thought of patriotic. And she says we should use courage.
All right.
So, do we use courage? Can we spell courage?
C.
She's giving me directives, so I think I'll just pass the microphone to her. Okay.
Children of Celebrant, please.
We're spelling courage because the Celebrant is highly courageous. And I think we should get a C.
C.
O.
O.
U.
U.
R.
R.
R for Rotimi. A.
A.
G.
G.
And a very exotic E.
E. Children of the Celebrant. Dr. Chikamba Amechi. Insirim Obina Amechi. Please, children of the Celebrant, where is Chikamba, please? All right.
The kids are here. They should join us, please.
We now invite Waziri Adamawa, and the first set of photographs will be the Club of Former Governors. Club of Former Governors to join Waziri Adamawa. And the chairman of the occasion, Cardinal Onaiko. Former governors. Then the second set will be led by the Emir of Kano. The next set, Emir of Kano. Then the next set will be. Club of Former Governors to join our former Vice President. This is the chairman of the occasion, yes. Club of Former Governors. Former ministers get set and former military chiefs. Former ministers and former military chiefs. Thank you very much. Former ministers, former military chiefs, AVM Sadiq, Jaraburutai, former generals, Valentino Sibu, I can see you. Please sit down. Senator Nuruddin Abetemi. Where is Senator Nuruddin Abetemi? Senator Nuruddin. Senator Nuruddin. Please just wait for the vote of thanks because there's an important announcement. Kindly wait for the vote of thanks because there's an important announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Planning Committee, ably led by the chairman, Governor Gabriel Suswam, senators, members of the House of Reps, all members, the young members, Ike, Bishop, Lotana, everyone, on behalf of us all, we want to thank you very much for finding time to share this moment with the celebrant, Chief Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. We hope to see you all later in the evening at a more relaxed function of the dinner for this day. Thank you all for coming. I wish you Johnny Mercies back to your respective homes. Thank you.
You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.